Welcome everyone, namaste. My name is Kaylee and welcome to today's prenatal yoga for hips and low back pain. So for reference, I'm currently 31 weeks pregnant, and throughout my pregnancy I have been dealing with achy hips and sciatica pain. So I'm going to be showing my favorite poses for you to do, and hopefully they bring you as much comfort as they do for me. So I practice at least a few of these poses every single day, and it seems to really help me. I hope that you can enjoy these poses just the same, but if not, always make sure to listen to your body, do what feels good for you. If you need to modify, take a break, do what you need to do. I'm going to be using some blocks today, so it's your choice if you want to use some props. So let's get started in a nice comfortable seat, sitting on your mat, however you need to do, whether that's cross-legged, sitting on your heels, legs can be extended. Maybe you want to sit on a bolster or a block, lifting the hips up, closing down the eyes. Bring your hands to your baby, to your belly. Let's take 3 clearing breaths in through the nose. Open mouth, let it go. Inhale. Open mouth, side out. Last one, big breath in. Let it all out. Coming back to your natural breath, just taking a moment to become aware of the present moment, right here, right now. Checking in with your body, connecting with your baby. Coming back to your breath. Gently blinking open your eyes. Bring the hands on top of your knees. And start to lean over to one side, arching the spine forward, all the way over to the other side as you round back, lean back. So moving in a circle. However you want to do this, lead with your heart or your ribs. Just working into the low back, into the hips. Notice where you're feeling any sensations. Maybe work with your breath. Exhales to round back. Inhales to arch forward. You can move nice and slow, or if it feels better to speed it up, do what you need to do. Taking one more in this direction. And reverse the direction. Notice any changes. Coming back to your breath. One more in this direction. Meeting back in center, arms out beside you, palms face up. Take a big inhale, reach up to the sky. Exhale, right hand down, left arm reaches up and over. Open your heart towards the sky. Send the gaze up if that feels okay, otherwise keep the gaze down. Press firmly into the right palm. Both hips are grounding into the mat. Breathing into the left side of the body. You feel it all the way into the left side of the low back, depending on where you're tight or achy. Wherever you are, just notice any and all sensations. Just exploring each pose. No side is ever the same, so one side might feel tight, tender, the other side might feel open and just like there's no sensation at all. So just becoming aware of your own body. Take a big inhale back through center, both arms up. Exhale, left hand down, right arm reaches up and over. Open your heart, send the gaze up or down. Press firmly into that left palm, grounding into both hips. Breathe into the right side of your body, creating a little space for baby. One more big belly breath. One breath, one movement. Inhale, come back through center, both arms up. Exhale, right hand down, left arm up and over. Inhale, up. Exhale, left hand down, right arm up and over. One more each side. Inhale through center, reach. Exhale, right hand down, left arm up and over. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, left hand down, right arm up and over. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, hands to your side. Let's make our way into tabletop, coming onto hands and knees. You can have some blocks underneath your hands here if you like. Maybe some padding under the knees for more comfort. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Give the hips a little wiggle from side to side. Pressing into the palms firmly for cat and cow. Your choice, the toes can be tucked or untucked. Take a big inhale, lift your heart, shoulders back, gaze up. Exhale, round through the spine, hug your baby in, chin to chest. Inhale, arching forward, think about opening your chest and shoulders. Exhale, round through the spine, spread the shoulder blades. Inhale, coming forward. Exhale, round. Inhale, forward. Exhale, round. Continue with your own breath. No rush. If you want to add a little more movement, do so. Whatever your body is asking for in this very moment. Taking 2 more cat-cows. Return to neutral spine, tuck the toes. Press your hips to heels for a moment. Wake up the soles of the feet. Might need to spread the knees a little wider, create more room for your baby, your growing belly. Give the hips a little wiggle if that feels okay. Not here for too long, just waking up the feet. Notice if you feel it anywhere else. Maybe it feels really good in your low back here, almost like an active child's pose. All right, let's shift back to table. Keep the toes tucked, press the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Hips to the sky, heart for your thighs. Maybe change the stance of the toes. Gotta walk them out a little further depending on where you're at in your pregnancy. Find a little movement here in your down dog. So maybe pedal out the legs. Sway the hips from side to side. Shake your head side to side, up and down. Do whatever feels good. If you're feeling a little dizzy or lightheaded, make sure that you come down to the ground, either back to tabletop or take a child's pose. Breathing into the backs of the legs, into the back, opening into the front of the shoulders and chest. Take one more breath. Awesome. Let's pivot the heels in, keep the toes out, feet are still pretty wide. Walk the hands back to the back of your mat, bend the knees, sink the hips, coming into Malasana, Yogi squat. Stay high on the ball of the feet, the heels are lifted, and just sway from side to side. Super important to keep doing your squats throughout your pregnancy. Doesn't matter how low you go as long as you're trying to squat down. This is also going to be really good for positioning baby or helping baby find its optimal position. Notice where you're feeling any sensation. For me, it's always my right low back that's bothering me and pinching. So of course, this feels super nice. If you feel any pinching or discomfort, stop what you're doing. Don't push yourself. Now is not the time. Take a couple more sways, side to side. Awesome. Go ahead and lift up into a forward fold. Point the toes forward. Hands can be under blocks here if you like. Just pedal at the legs. Depending on how tight the legs are, you might feel a little bit more sensation in the IT band area as you pedal out the legs, swinging the hips from side to side. Bend the knees, press into the feet, roll up your spine, take your time. Head's the last to rise. Arms are wing heavy. Bring the shoulders up, back, and down. Once you arrive, and we'll come to step to the long edge of the mat in the middle. Go ahead, grab your blocks if you have them. Step the feet wide, heels in, toes out, hands on top of the thighs. Bend the knees, sink the hips low, pressing into the outer edge of the feet, goddess pose. And just add a little movement here, whatever feels good. Maybe you need to move up and down, side to side. Opening into the hips, into the low back, wherever you're feeling sensation. Find center, take a big inhale. As you exhale, dip a shoulder down, gaze over the opposite shoulder. Inhale through center. Exhale, dip the opposite shoulder. Inhale, center. Exhale, shoulder dip. Inhale, center, last one. Exhale, shoulder dip. Inhale, back through center, straighten the legs, hands to the hips, pivot the feet in so the feet are parallel. You can shorten the stance or widen it as we come into a wide leg fold. Lift the heart, take a big breath in. As you exhale, fold forward, heart leads the way. Maybe the hands come down to the blocks, down to the ground, wherever you like. So many options here. If you have the blocks or just with your hands, walk them forward as you sink your heart down. Keep pressing into the outer edges of the feet. Maybe shifting from the ball of the foot to the heel. Breathing into any tight spots, any tender areas, achy areas. If you like, you can stack the blocks on the shortest setting, one on top of the other. Bring your forearms down and just hang out here for a few breaths. Find your breath here. Keep breathing nice and deep. Taking one more deep belly breath. And then go ahead, if you have your blocks, take them on whichever setting you like. Walk them to the top of the mat, toes pivot towards the front. Lower that left knee down, if we're on the same side. and heel toe the front foot all the way to the outer edge of your mat. Sink the hips forward and walk that left block really far out to the left or the opposite hand. Hopefully we're on the same side, but if not, that's okay. Bring the right hand to the right thigh. And your back toes can be tucked or untucked, whichever feels more safe for you in this moment. Front knees stacked over the ankle. And lean over to the left. Maybe open your heart to the sky. So that right hand is pressing firmly on top of that right thigh. Breathing into any sensation. Maybe everything you're feeling is in the front of that left thigh. Maybe you're feeling it deep in this right hip. Maybe in the right low back. Wherever you're feeling, just keep breathing. Keep pressing firmly into that right foot. Taking one more deep belly breath. Awesome. Go ahead, grab your blocks, and we'll just make our way to the back of the mat so you can lift that back knee up, or you can just shimmy on over to the back. Left foot is coming to the edge of the mat. Right block on the lowest setting if you have. Walks to the outside of the mat. Sink the hips forward. Left hand, left thigh. Lift your heart, maybe leaning over to the right. A little twist in the upper body. Notice if this side feels a little bit different. Try not to collapse in your shoulders, really staying nice and strong and active here through the hands and arms, pressing out of the shoulders. Take one more deep belly breath. Awesome. And however you want to get there, make your way to come to seated. You can move the blocks off to the side. Go ahead, extend your right leg forward, left sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Hands frame that right foot. You can be sitting up on block or bolster here if that's more comfortable for you. If this left knee or the leg is pretty tight and it's not really comfortable to have it laying towards the ground, you can always place a block underneath just to give it some more support. Take a big inhale to sit up tall. Stay here if it feels good, just as it is. Otherwise, exhale as you fold forward. Walk the hands forward. And you might not be able to fold right over the leg depending on space for baby. So if you have to kind of go a little bit more towards the inside of the leg, that's fine too. Keep a little micro bend to that right knee. Your choice with the toes, you can always play around whether they face towards you or press away, exploring the different feelings and sensations in the back of the leg. Depending on your body in this moment, you could feel it in the low back. Just keep lifting your heart. Doesn't matter how low you go, as long as you're feeling something. Taking one more breath. Let's slowly walk back through center and changing sides. Left leg extends, right sole of the foot to the inner left thigh. Sitting up tall, finding a comfortable seat or as comfy as you can get it. Hands frame that left leg, take a big inhale. Exhale, folding forward. Walk the hands forward. Making any adjustments. Doesn't matter how low you go. I know for my own practice, sometimes I go into a pose and think, oh my goodness, this is so different. But you know what? Different times, different bodies, different days. It's never going to be the same, and that's okay. As long as you get on your mat and do a little bit of something, that's what's going to make you feel better than what you did before you got on your mat. Take one more big belly breath. Walk the hands back, come to seated. Bring the blocks with you if you like. Come into a fire log pose. This pose has been incredible for me in the outer hips, really just getting into that deep position, since figure 4 and pigeon pose has not been very beneficial for me. This sometimes can be called a double pigeon pose, but depending on where you're at in your body, just figure out what works for you. So first option, of course, is to just come cross-legged. Most of the time what happens is one leg is parallel to the hips, or let's say to the mat. The other leg is going to come right on top, and both shins are parallel. Of course, it's a little bit inaccessible in my body, so I'm just going to walk that left foot, or whichever foot you have on top, a little bit more to the calf. So my shins are still parallel. There's still a little bit of space here, so if you need, you can always place a block underneath. Hands on the knees or wherever you're at, sitting up nice and tall. For me, I'm getting into the top hip, or the leg that's on top. I feel most of the sensation there. As long as you're not feeling any pinching or discomfort, just stay where you're at. If you want to add a little more, you can always fold forward slightly. Breathe into any sensation. This is definitely similar to a pigeon pose, but for some reason in my body it feels a lot better and less discomfort if I was to go into pigeon pose. So it's all about modifying for your body. Like I said, every day is different, so while this pose might feel okay for you today, it might not feel okay tomorrow. And that's okay, just taking it one day at a time, one practice at a time, one stretch at a time. You're doing awesome. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Slowly come back through center. Remove the blocks if you were using them. Hands behind you. Step the feet nice and wide. Knees stay bent. Windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Take it nice and slow. Coming back to seated. Changing sides. So taking the bottom shin parallel, the top shin parallel, however you need to do it, however you need to modify. Hands on the knees, sitting up nice and tall first. Maybe you feel enough here. Otherwise, if you want to add on, walk the hands forward, folding forward. Maybe you have to wiggle into it a little bit. If baby is taking up more space, make sure there's enough space for baby. Breathe into the sensations, breathing into the tight areas. Take one more deep belly breath. Slowly walk the hands back, hands behind you, step the feet wide, knees stay bent, windshield wiper the knees from side to side. And we're going to close down the practice. So finding a comfortable position. If you need a little bit more for your low back or hips, I encourage you to find a child's pose, knees spread out wide, big toes touching. Your option with the arms. Otherwise, if you want to find a nice comfortable seat, hands coming back to your baby, just as we started, closing down the eyes. Let's take 3 clearing breaths in through the nose. Open mouth, let it go. 2 more in. Let it go. Last one. Big breath in. Big breath out. Returning to your natural breath. Checking in with your body. Connecting with your baby. Finding your breath. Resting here for as long as you need. Thank you so much for joining me for this class, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.